The world is moving fast. And honestly, we're just trying to make sense of it all. We're pulling back the curtain on the big ideas, the what ifs, and the stuff that actually matters.
This is Shifting Thoughts with Albert and Cody.
Forget the script. Let's get into it.
All right. We are live.
Episode 6.
Episode 6, dude. That's crazy.
Albert, we're still doing it.
I know.
We're past. I know we didn't start on like New Year's, where it's like there's still that motivation to keep going to the gym.
Correct.
But I feel like we're getting past that point where it's like we're seeing this through.
It's like we're putting a cadence to this thing.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's right.
Man. So like it's funny how you start off something like this and you're like, this would be a nice hobby to start, but you're like, nah, dude, like this is some serious good content.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm looking for it online and I'm not finding it, which is good.
It's good and bad.
True.
Right? Bad in the sense that I feel like the topics that we discuss should be more prevalent.
Right.
Especially on social media where everyone's gathering.
Correct.
And I do believe there are pockets of it. There's just not a whole lot of pockets of it.
Mm-mm.
And then, but good in the sense that the fact that we actually get to step into this.
Right.
And navigate through it knowing we ain't got hardly anything really figured out.
Not at all.
But we've learned some stuff.
Correct.
Not only just going through life, but specifically going through life and seeing what of my decisions have ran completely against the way God designed this.
Oh, yeah. They've actually caused headaches.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the main thing about like today. So, episode 6, the Ghost in the House part 2, the mental load, right? So I had a previous.
Yeah, tell me about the first
I
title.
don't want to because I feel like Brittany would kill me.
No, it's okay. No, because if the women who listen to this hear that you asked your wife you asked her advice and you listen, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
I think this
is a trap.
We just lay it out there knowing that I didn't come up with this original one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sitting in the living room kind of going over everything. And Brady walks in from, walking. And then I was like, hey, what do you think about this title?
And what was the title, Albert?
So the title was The Ghost in the House, Part 2, Her Mental Load.
Her Mental Load.
She gives me a dead stare like, why does it have to be her mental load? I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, why can't it be the mental load? I was like, oh my God, what do you mean? She was like, you're causing this mental load. I was like, I'm changing it.
In like 5 seconds, Albert.
Dude, it was like immediate. I was like, I'm changing it. I'm so glad I brought this up. And she was like, thank you.
You did some market research.
Yeah, for sure.
And got some immediate feedback, and we were able to make a quick decision.
Imagine if I would have posted this out there as her mental load.
Tough.
Dude.
We'd learn the hard way. We'd learn the hard way.
Oh, yeah. It'd be bad. It'd be bad. So, but anyway, yeah. So, last week we discussed the Ghost in the House Part 1, but more so from the husband's side or the father's side with his kids. But now I kind of want to move more towards what it looks like in marriage, which, dude, I think is the silent killer, to be honest. And this is also coming from the perspective of like, I'm learning this too, like it's a continual cycle of learning this process and getting better at it.
Tell us about that silent killer though. Like what's not being said or what's not being done or
So I kind of have it listed as, And this is not a jab to guys or in general. Like it's not that type of podcast episode. But basically, like one of the things that I've seen that can be a struggle, and I would say for most marriages, this is probably a struggle where you, like we said last week, you have this mentality that you're the provider, right? So when I come home, I need to check out from the kids. Well, you also inadvertently check out from your wife and from all the other things that need to happen in that house, right? And that creates a vicious cycle of built up resentment over time.
For sure.
So I wanted to focus on that, and I wanted to speak up from the perspective of somebody that has gone through that, is living through that, is constantly looking at improving that part of, the home life. Just because, to be honest, the mentality of like, well, I'm a provider, like I should come home and chill, is kind of drilled into your head culturally.
Yeah.
You
burned it.
But the reality is different. Culture says one thing, reality is another thing. But then also just from, and as we'll discuss here, like just seeing it from a biblical perspective, like what happens when you as the man decide to be just passive, completely passive. It is a massive consequence. So,
because what difference are you than just a government assistance?
Basically,
right?
Yeah.
But your wife has a roommate.
Yeah.
It's like that ends up being the relationship.
Yeah.
Strictly becomes. I don't even want to say transactional.
I do, but it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely lends it way, and I don't think people would say it's transactional, but it very much in the sense of like, this is my role, and this is also the only role I need to do.
Right.
And if I do that, I've done what's required of me to be a man, a husband, a father. I provided resources, right?
Correct.
Or in this case, capital for the family to go buy resources. And at that level of provision, well, shoot, man, I wonder what that person's relationship with God is.
Oh, it's very much checklist. Well, God, I did X, I did Y.
I did this.
I did Z.
I did this.
Where are the blessings?
Where are the blessings? Yeah.
Seriously. Like,
why
where are
can't
the
I get a
blessings?
pass here?
Oh, yeah.
I hear this, and I know this is kind of veering away from the topic of the husband's relationship to a spouse in a home, but I hear this in Christians' voice when they go through something that's tragic. And they go, God, why I did this for you, I did this for you, I did this for you. Why did you let this thing happen to me? And in the end, it's like, did you do those things for God, or did you do those things to earn a favor from God? Because those are two different places. So I wonder if even if we're going to work from a standpoint of, are you going to work for your family, for your spouse, or are you going to work so that your family and your spouse owe you something in return? And maybe that thing in return is space, silence, retreat, being able to be passive in those other areas. Like,
Intimacy.
I did this.
Throw that in there.
I've done everything I was supposed to.
Correct.
I provided for the family.
Correct. Now it's my turn to get my needs met.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I've met your needs. Now meet mine.
Not me, mine. Correct.
Even though I've been emotionally unavailable.
Oh, not only emotionally, this is the part that I've learned, right, over a period of time. It's not only the emotional unavailable, but also just in general, the day in and out of the home life, right? Like the domestic labor part of being part of that household, right?
That's right.
And I've just learned over a period of time, like, and I feel like I'm getting better at it now, but it's almost like, like if, I can say you have to strike a balance between all of them, right? You can't just say as a man that I'm there emotionally for my wife, but I'm not there with the domestic labor and I'm not there with the spiritual leadership. And you can't just say, well, I'm there for my wife on a spiritual level, but I'm not there on an emotional or domestic labor, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the other, right? If I'm here, I do help with the day in, day out of cleaning and doing this and doing that and the doctor's offices and all that. But I'm not there emotionally for you, and I'm not there for you spiritually. You're still leaving a void. You have to meet all three consistently.
And what does that look like? Because I think we could say going provisionally. That seems to be pretty darn straightforward for, I would say, the average Christian.
Yeah.
Understands what that means.
Right.
You know, you go and you work a job and you receive a paycheck. Or you go and you run a business and that business earns some money and now you have capital to draw from.
Right.
Spiritually, you know, we talked a lot about that last week.
We did.
And we'll see what that looks like. What does it look like, and maybe what are some misunderstandings when it comes to the emotional side?
So let me take it back to like the problem, right? And then we're gonna we'll work our way to like the emotional side. So, in general, talking about the problem with the provision, it's like there's problem number one where it's like the two income perspective.
Okay.
All right. And I kind of wrote it down this way. I was like, from the wife's perspective is this, you know, I'm out in the world working just like you. I'm bringing home resources just like you. Mm-hmm. But when we get home, you get to clock out and I get to clock into a second shift. And that second shift is the emotional labor of the house, but then also the domestic labor of the house.
That's right.
So you basically create, you know, a situation where you're using your spouse's strength as an excuse for your own laziness.
Oh, gosh.
That's harsh, dude. And then you basically also, you know, their ability to provide was never meant to be your permission to withdraw. Mm-hmm. You know, which I think that's one of the key problems that happens in a home, right? Where you have two people that work, right? But then take it up a notch. Problem number two is the mental load that it creates. And I think this is probably the most common, right? When the husband is the ghost, your spouse is forced to carry the entire weight of the home's emotional, the social, and then the spiritual labor, you know? And I think the problem, the main problem of being a ghost that completely withdraws from that covenant relationship with your wife is that you'll create either an emotional void, a domestic void, you know, or a spiritual void. So it's not just one thing. It's three things. Mm-hmm. Like there's really three things that there's three potential holes there. That if you're not intentional about addressing each one of them, you know, you're creating room for an enemy to step in and, you know, speak to your spouse. You know, there's a spiritual enemy at that, you know, and you're creating a situation where resentment starts to build.
Resentment will fill the gap.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So I think I think this whole episode is really coming from the perspective of that mental load that is created from our lack of action.
Us checking out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Being unapologetic about it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not even a checking out and like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's just like, no, I earned this.
Yeah,
that's your job.
Well, so you got to think, right? In general, what are the two things that men want from their wife? In general, this is a general question. I will say there's about two things that we're asking of them, right?
I'd say love and respect.
Boom, right?
Yeah.
We're wanting respect and we're wanting love. I'll probably say this, just like being very general about this. 9 times out of 10, that love is very much physical intimacy with your spouse, right? But can you get any of that when you are choosing to withdraw from them. And there's these things that need to happen in the home. You know, there's an emotional uplifting of the children. There's the domestic part of just day in, day out, cleaning, washing dishes, cleaning the floors, vacuuming, doing clothes, taking out the trash, like, you know, the outside of the house, the inside. I mean, like, there's a whole domestic labor in and of itself with that.
Think about it this. I heard today it's like women are attracted to competency. Right? Whether it's something that has to do with the way you bring in income, right? Or just something you're able to do domestically, right? A trade or whatever else, like you name it, fix a car. It doesn't matter. Like women are attracted to competency. And imagine like all your competency points, if this is like a game. You know, you get skill points and you put all your skill points on career and you put none of them in being a father and a husband, or very few, right? You just have base level stats. And so when you come home and you just check out and you don't look like you have any competency when it comes to your own home, in your own domain. And then you're going to ask your wife to be intimate with you and they're just like, ew. They're just like, gross.
That right there.
I don't even want you to touch me.
Exactly. Like it really is, man. Like, and it seems like it's a lot, but to be honest, we're kind of called to be good at all those areas.
That's correct. Not only called.
Like, it go back to,
bro, you were created to be good at this stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Like we were created to be great at all those areas, but then somehow, for whatever reason, cultural, you know, all those things are sort of categorically divided by gender, right?
Sure.
And then we just kind of repeat what we were told, you know, is the norm. But again, the times are different. And that's just the reality of it, you know? Like, this is I would say this is probably a good perspective. Me being from a Hispanic heritage, it's very, very divided. This is what the man does, roles are. This is what the man does, this is what the woman does, right? So I grew up seeing that, right?
Yeah.
So in our day and time, that's not quite how things are, right? So then you're fighting a cultural norm that you think is how things ought to be, but the reality is that things are different. You know?
It is the tension between growing up in one mode of like family dynamics,
right,
and then growing up as an adult in a completely different one.
Correct.
And trying to force the old into the new.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Correct.
It absolutely doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You know, and I think that's where a lot of, I would say probably in general, and this is a generalization of guys, I would say that for a lot of guys, the domestic part is probably one of the things that doesn't cross our minds, with the exception of a few times. Like,
well, it doesn't make any money.
You're right. Well, I'll say this. It doesn't make money, but I would probably say this too. From a perspective of like outcomes, we don't correlate that by helping my spouse with the domestic part. It might actually correlate with her ability to, you know, see me with respect and have a desire to be with me.
That's
right? You know,
that's 100% it.
It's right.
And we don't even know how to correlate it. Am I doing well here or not?
We don't. It's completely out of the calculations. You know, that particular part.
That's right.
And it does. Like you said, I think when you show emotional competence with your spouse, that's very attractive.
That's right.
When you're showing spiritual leadership in your house, that's very attractive. When you're showing competency with just all the domestic stuff that needs to happen without being told, that's the key thing. That's very attractive.
And I think that there is the dividing line where you'll see in a lot of couples, You have a man that doesn't really know how to initiate in those areas, domestically, spiritually, as a father, as a husband. And the wife, because they are so attracted to a level of competency, right, that they don't want to ask you to do those things.
Correct.
Right? There's something about them having to ask you to do something you just should just help with, period.
Correct. That is true.
And then there's the bridge between where they are and where they get closer to Christ. And both of them don't know how to operate there.
Correct.
Like a man doesn't know how to initiate, right, to step into. He's like, I don't even know what this looks like, right? Obviously, he knows what washing dishes looks like.
Right.
You know.
But tell me I have to wash the dishes.
I'm not talking about that.
And that's not,
Right? And for the wife, right, the tool she ends up getting to once that resentment builds up is critique. And you will find out you will never critique someone to greatness. Right. And so both of these people don't know how to typically, and from what I've seen and marriage couples and things like that I've been able to counsel with, they have no idea what it looks like to build up the new identity and the other or themselves.
Oh, wow. That is so true.
Yeah. So when you don't have that piece, the only thing I have to look at is what you're not doing.
Yeah.
And for the husband, it's like, why do you keep on nagging me about this? I went and provided for the family. If it wasn't for me, yada, yada. It's just a whole bunch of nothing.
Correct.
And they don't know how to speak to. I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
Sitting down with this couple. I love this couple.
Yeah.
Not naming names, right? They were going through and they were having a decision they were having to step to together as a couple. Let's put it that way. It was causing some friction in the relationship. The wife wanted to try and step into something, right? And the husband was not comfortable with it, right? Nothing was illegal or whatever else. Just setting the bounds for that.
Yeah.
And I said, what does it look like for you guys to pray for each other? When's the last time y'all prayed over each other, not just like silently or whatever else? And they were like, never. And these are people that go to church for a long time. We're talking a year, a long time. And they said never. And I hear this over and over and over again from couples. When's the last time you prayed over them in front of them? And they go, never. Maybe our wedding day. And that's it. And I go, okay, when you do, then I say, all right, cool, we're going to practice it right now. And so I had both this couple pray for each other, and they both prayed, God, would you let them see that what I'm trying to do is all of it was language about themselves. And I was like, that was a beautiful prayer. Throw it away.
Start again.
I was like, you prayed for God to change them for your sake.
Correct.
And you did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I said, that's got to go.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all can't see each other, can't see yourselves the way God sees you, and you can't see each other for that. So when you have a conflict, it's just like, why aren't you thinking about me?
Correct. Well, I mean, it goes back to, same thing when I talk to guys that are struggling in their relationship. I'll just point blank ask them this one question. Which one do you initiate the most? Prayer or intimacy?
Oh my gosh.
I throw them off.
That's such a good question.
I throw them off
completely. Oh my gosh, Albert. What a great question.
I throw them off completely. And don't get me wrong, it's not to say that I'm great at that, right? Because I'm not perfect at that myself, right? But a lot of times when I ask them, or they're telling me, this is a struggle, I'll just ask them, like, which one are you initiating most?
Dude, I'm stealing that question. That is such an uncomfortably great question.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because it pushes all the BS aside.
Absolutely.
100%. You're like, how are you doing as a spiritual leader? Well, let me ask you this question. And then it just...
None. That's
you
it.
Go, none. There you go. There's your answer. Why are you having problems? That's one reason. Go home and do that right now. See you in a week.
Yeah. I mean, I will wrestle with that question also. There's times of the week where I'll ask myself that question and I'm like, okay, like I need to readjust my mental, game for the week or the day or whatever it needs to be. But I mean, dude, honestly, I go back to, in general, what I've been learning over a period of time is that a lot of the issues that happen in marriage is because we're choosing to withdraw from, connecting with our spouses at an emotional level where we take responsibility to lead in that area, right? By far, what I've seen and what I'm learning is that probably the biggest one is the domestic part. It's the one that I feel like, dudes, like, we're really good. Like, guys, we're really good. Dude, if we wanted to build a house, we could just plan it out and go execute.
That's right.
And there's a house, right? So the domestic part is, I feel like, the bigger issue. But it's the one that we will probably be really good at knocking out and consistently killing it. To start mending that relationship in that, with your spouse. Because, what I've seen is that over a period of time, when your spouse is having to be the one to remind you of all the things that need to happen in the home, right? Let's say, a good example, just clean the dishes every day. Take out the trash every day. Once a week, if you can vacuum, if you can sweep up everything, like really good. If you could just basically remove 30% of the mental load off of me, that would go a massive way in helping me breathe, right? Because if you start thinking, I had to be like, I had to be honest with myself and ask myself the question, like, well, what are all the things that I did and all the things that Brittany does, right? And I started listing it, and I'm like, like, work-wise, like, I do all these things. She does the same thing because she's, full-time. But then on the domestic side, I'm like, I need to change. Like, I need to change some stuff big time, because, like, I do see that bogging her down, So that's just an ownership thing, And I think, somebody posted this online. I told you about it, where one of the guys sort of created this initiative where he was like, what, for the next year, like, I'm just going to take over all these little, like, domestic things for my wife.
Was that the guy who talked about,
like, if he's like, if I was a bachelor, I would do it.
And someone's coming over.
Yeah, and if I was a bachelor in the dating world and I was inviting someone to come over to my place, like, my place would be top notch. 100%. So why don't I do that now? So I remember reading that a while ago, and I'm like, that makes so much sense. Like, I would. My house would be spotless, So why can't you carry that same mentality for your own home? And I feel like for me, that changed my game. Because I was like, I have no excuse. Like, I have no excuse for keeping my house top notch now. Like, it's not perfect. But hey, dishes, I knock out those dishes. I knock out that trash. I take care of this. I take care of that. And over a period of time, I've seen her level of carrying that lesson, right? Because now I'm owning it. And then not only am I owning it, she doesn't have to speak about it or say anything about it at all.
Right.
The only time she's ever had to do something like that as of recent was when I had a late night meeting, and I was like, hey, I think I texted her. I was like, I feel really bad about those dishes. Like, I'll knock them out. Those are mine. Yeah. And then I get home and they're done. So it was like, I know you had a late night, like, working. Like, it's okay, I got it. But I was owning it. Like, hey, that's my mess to take care of. I'll knock it out. I'm just letting you know, like, it's mine. So I think I've seen from experience that if you implement that as a dude, like, you're going to see something change. Yeah. Because it's that respect. my husband has a competence about the domestic part that I don't have to keep up with, right? Because there's all these other things that also need to be taken care of.
That's right.
So I see that. And then the spiritual part, man, that's the biggest one. That is the biggest one.
Well, before we go to the spiritual side,
Yeah.
just like stuff off the top of my head of
Yeah.
like conversations to have with your spouse. Like if you ask, and this works for adults too, but if you ask a kid, like, what's your favorite class? They're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe math, right? And then you ask them, like, which class do you hate? And they're like, science. Writing. They'll just tell you, they know exactly what they hate.
Yeah.
Immediately. Adults don't lose that.
Yeah.
We get really good at honing in on the stuff we do not like to do.
Oh, absolutely.
The most.
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine stepping into a conversation with your spouse. Like, there's two things. I honestly, I'm just going to go ask Lord when I get home. We're going to have dinner tonight.
Yeah.
And we don't have the kids except for the youngest. She's like 10 weeks. I'm going to ask her two things.
Yeah.
One, when do you find me the most attractive?
Okay.
Because I probably not when I think it is.
Okay.
And then two, which like house chore or task do you hate the most?
Oh.
And then just take 100% ownership of whatever that thing is.
Oh, yeah. Just take it.
Right? Just take that,
take
right?
it.
Because I could, and there's nothing wrong with this, I could guess and just grab some random chores.
You could, but I'll say this, though, right? And this is something that we've had to learn, right? And I remember I had to like step in and be like, hey, that's mine. I do it this way. It'll be done this way from now on. Like, step off. Like, it wasn't bad, right?
This is my turf.
But it was like, you've been so used to owning it that I'm
right.
telling you, you don't longer have to worry about that. It's going to be done this way. So, definitely, I would say definitely ask. But like, let's say a good example. This is a basic one. The dishes, right? So typically, she would do the dishes, put everything up, put the bottles up, and then she would put like the tops in a little basket, and it would stay right there, and it would all be there, right? Well, I hated it. I'll be honest. I hated it. It was a mess. I was like, I love you, babe, but it was a mess. So anyway, I was like, those are mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's going to be done my way from now on, right? I redid that whole cabinet, right? Not the whole thing, but the part where we put all the bottles and the tops. I was like, I want them out. They're going in the pantry, put the basket in there. So the first time I did that, I remember her walking into the kitchen to prep the kids' stuff, and she was like, wait, where are the bottles at? And I'm like, they're in the pantry down below. And so that's not where they go. I was like, that's where they're going to start going. And she looked at me and I was like, babe, it's mine. Like, let me own it, right? Like, and I saw her and she was like, all right, they're yours. Those are yours. Like, you are 100% over it. I was like, yes. Like, I have a reason why I want them there. It's just easier, less of a mess for me.
Yeah.
I can operate with that being there. And I want some space up there, So there's going to be some things that when you step in, your spouse might be like, well, I don't like it that way.
I still want to be, this is my
I want it this way, but
Yeah.
it's like, I need you to let go and let me own this.
Otherwise, there
Right.
is no mental load relief.
There isn't.
Period.
Right, because then she's always
Yeah.
looking to see, was it done the way I wanted it to be done?
That's right.
Well, that's not going to work, right? If you want your husband to take over that 30%.
That's right.
Let him own that 30%, and then over time, if some things need to be adjusted, do it, right? And then the other stuff that I kind of took over, I was like, you know what? I got the toilets, I've got the bathtubs, and I've got the showers. And me, tech and whatnot, I remember when I did it, I always like calculating, well, how long will it take me to do these things? So I'm over there cleaning them up real quick, making sure they're good and spotless. And I'm like, man, that only took 30 minutes. This ain't nothing. Like,
Half an hour.
I had to calculate it.
Yeah.
Like, how long does this stuff take? And for me, it was 30 minutes, but I'm like, yeah, this is mine from now on.
From
you
now
know,
on,
so
yeah.
you just, if you need some reflection to see how long it'll take this stuff, measure it. You're gonna find out it's really not that much time, but the amount of mental relief that they get from it it's less things they have to keep remembering needs to get done. Right? Because then here we are, you know, as a spouse, coming to your wife, and I was like, hey, babe, let's be intimate. But she's got like 50,000 mental tabs of things that need to get done.
Yeah.
And then we're left feeling frustrated, right? So what do? You're either going to continue on a pattern that doesn't work, or you're going to choose to step in and say, I'm going to do something about it, right? Kind of like that couple. I don't need you to change. I'm the one that needs to do something different.
That's right.
Right? So you kind of have to step into that. And you're not going to be great at it at first, but you'll learn it over time. So knock it out that way, you know?
Yeah, I think, I do like the priority set of what do they hate the most. And if you can take that on, that's a win.
Take it. Yeah, that's right.
Only because I've either seen other dudes step into this and they just guess. And they are doing extra stuff, and it's not the stuff that's weighing the wife down.
Very accurate.
So then you end up with more resentment because you have a wife that's still not feel like you're still not sharing the load.
Valid point.
And the husband going, I'm actually putting effort into sharing the load. And then something happens and someone makes a comment about somebody else. And then it's just, dude, it blows
That
up.
is very true. That is 100% true. That is a valid point. It is good to ask. It is absolutely important to ask. That's wise counsel.
This solves another thing that men don't necessarily realize they're stepping into it by asking those kind of questions, right? What do you think the average guy thinks is the emotional side of the relationship? Like, you aren't there emotionally. Like, what do you think the average dude thinks? And like, well, what do you want me to do? Cry with her? What do you want me to do? Gab about what happened at work?
I will say this: if it depends. If you have kids in the picture, your wife will 9 times out of 10 point back to the kids. Like, there's some type of emotional weight that comes with the children that you're not pulling.
Yeah.
That's what I think. If you have no children, then yes, I would say it has something to do with how she communicates herself, and you're not receptive to how she's, to what she's trying to do. You either open your mouth too fast, offering solutions she didn't ask for.
Yeah, or solving solutions she doesn't care for you to step into.
Exactly.
Which is a bummer, because I've also done the same thing.
Me too.
But
yeah,
asking the question, like, when you ask a spouse something like, what's the chore or whatever, what's the thing you hate the most? And they get to talk about it, you've already started to tap into the emotional side of your spouse.
Correct.
It's not hard.
Correct.
When you get to, they get to tell you about that. And this is just one more little layer of wisdom.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a discussion about you wanting to take over something else in the house, they can take that the wrong way.
Oh, I was not.
Yes,
okay.
Only because, and my wife and I didn't have a discussion.
Okay.
I just started helping.
Yeah.
And my wife felt terrible.
Really? Okay.
That I started helping
with
the house chores, like washing dishes and doing laundry.
Was it seen as critique, like you're critiquing me by you taking over and doing that, or?
She took it as basically, I'm not doing this good enough because I can't keep up with it, and now he's having to step in and help me.
Gotcha.
Because I'm not doing this either fast enough, or I'm not capable of doing this on time, or in a reasonable amount of time. And I'm like sitting there helping, thinking, oh, okay, sweet, we got the dishes done. That's awesome. And my wife I'm getting this weird energy from my spouse, and I'm like, golly, I don't even know what I did. And it was like it was either days or like maybe a couple weeks afterwards where she finally told me.
Oh my God.
And the whole time I'm helping out with more dishes, more like whatever else. And then my wife's
Bring me that plate. Bring me that cup.
In the meantime, my wife, what she was hearing was, "You are so bad at this
Oh no.
that I need to come home from working all day for our family and do your job."
Oh no.
Yes.
Okay.
So
yeah.
you don't even have to say anything for some of your spouses to think that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they automatically will.
Yeah.
But if you approach the discussion
Yeah.
from a place of, "Hey, what's the chore you hate the most?"
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. I just want to start doing that for you." Right?
That's definitely the better approach. Like, for sure, ask.
Yeah, ask.
Ask.
And make it perfectly clear.
Yeah.
This is not me taking over something because you're not doing a good enough job. Actually,
Right.
you do a great job.
Correct.
This is me wanting to take something off your plate
Correct.
that you really hate that
Correct.
doesn't really bother me.
You know, we're one flesh. Like, this whole thing should not be imbalanced,
Yeah.
where the weight of one area of our marriage should just be you.
Yeah.
But if there's a way I can step in and help balance out that weight, then by all means let me know.
That's right.
That is 100% true. And I'm gonna be honest, that's a perspective I didn't even think about. Like, what if your spouse is like, stop, don't, like, no, leave it alone.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then so be it, right? So it's like, I'm good. I've got this area.
Mm-hmm.
But then she may actually bring up the emotional or the spiritual part, where she's like, I really need you to step in more with the kids. I want you to lead more from the spiritual perspective, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the emotional and spiritual upbringing of a child kind of originates with the mother. In our day and culture, that's really, really true, But if that's something that your wife is constantly doing, that may be an area where she's kind of like, I'm building resentment because you're leaving this all up to me.
Yeah.
Where I'm not called to be the spiritual head of the house. That's you.
That's right.
So I need you to just step in and take over that. This is a while ago, but I remember when we were stepping into this, it was devotionals with our kids at night. My wife, she would every day at a certain time, like, all right, everybody, like, it's time for our devotional. Let's read our books and whatnot. And I would participate in that, but I wasn't leading in that. And then I learned over a period of time, it's like, no, like, that's building resentment because, like, you're called to be that person.
Yeah.
And, again, I was like, that's true. Like, I can't argue against that. Literally, scripture says I am the head of this house. My children's spiritual well-being is my responsibility. Right. So I did it my way. I created my own little AI tool with my prompts of how I want my scriptures to be done. And, I want a verse. I want it to be relatable to them. And I want to be able to give them certain questions. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast. Yeah. So do we read those books? I don't like those books. I'll just be honest. I don't. To me, they were just too watered down, But now I get to ask them so many thought-provoking questions that is making my kids think a lot more. Like, I remember probably sometime last week, one of the questions was, the whole topic was, our words can bring either death or life to someone, right? So I remember that one of our discussions was, how did you guys bring life to someone else today? And our kids were just like, I don't think we did.
I don't think we did that
Okay.
at all.
Did we hurt anyone today? And they're like, I think we did. Okay. So, like, let's talk about that, So I do remember we had that discussion then, and out of nowhere, I feel like the next day I was going somewhere with them. And I think I felt like the Holy Spirit say, like, hey, ask them the question, like, if they use their words as bandages today. Because that was the whole thing. Our words can be bandages to help someone else. So I remember asking them, I was like, did anybody use their words as bandages today? And they're like, yep, I did. I remembered, so-and-so was feeling down. So I went up to them and I told them like, hey, you're a great person, and God loves you. And so I'm like, I did, like, wow. I helped create that,
That's right.
That's what we're called to do. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we just leave it up to our wives to be completely over that, And in some marriages, that may be okay. That may be an agreement that you both have, if it's an agreement that you both have. But when you're just assuming that that's just what they do.
That's right.
She may be building up resentment.
That's right.
Over a long period of time.
It's another load.
It's just another load.
Imagine the mental load of your helping guide your kids to Christ, which is the most crucial and critical decision they will ever make. And you think, I'm married to a man and I have 100% of the load on my shoulders to make sure I guide them as best I can toward that decision. And
that's a lot,
and
man.
he ain't doing nothing. He prays for the meal at supper.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And the prayer is like, Jesus wept, amen. Like, come on.
It's like, Lord bless the food.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
And I think even have it start with your spouse, I was talking to a gentleman. He recently had given his life to Christ. And we had the conversation like, how often do you pray over your spouse? Never. I was like, you're doing that today.
Yeah.
Like you're going home and you're doing that today. And it was just like, to him, that was like public speaking. Like that was like putting up in front of a crowd. And this is a lot for everyone, including myself. Like the beginning of actually praying over a spouse felt like public speaking. And then a few weeks later we got to meet again. I was like, how'd it go? He was like, dude, it was embarrassing. It was hard.
It was
really hard.
Yeah.
And then I was like, when's the last time you do it? And he goes, that time, that was it. I was like, dude, guess what you're doing today?
You gotta do it again.
You gotta go do it
do it again.
And he was like, okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, dude, that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I want to kind of go back to what I wrote down for the notes, because when I was thinking about this whole topic, right, I'm thinking like certainly this originates somewhere. It's such a common thing that I hear when I'm talking to guys, that I'm like, certainly there's a common origin for this withdrawn attitude that we have, that once we're married, we're just, we just go into a different zone for some reason, right? So I landed on Adam.
Okay.
Right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. And
oh, bro, you're taking this to the fall.
I'm taking it to the fall, dude. Like, origin, right? So it says, so when the woman saw that there was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eye, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate. So, many people believe, or they visualize that like when the serpent was in the garden talking to Eve, that Adam was like across the field or something. Nah, he was there. So essentially what you have, and I wrote this down, you basically have the serpent's temptation was a press conference for both of them. Here's Eve being responsive to what I'm saying. Here's Adam just like, huh? What's happening? Like, just passive. And like, withdrawn. Just
even on
observing.
Now, I don't necessarily know where I fall on that. Only because of one line in verse 17. Only because of this one line.
All right.
And he said, he said to the man, because you listen to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas to the woman, because you listen to the serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Was Adam not listening? And when it says that
he was attentive to the
that
wife.
who was with her, right? I don't know if that means by the tree or if that means in the garden.
Correct. I thought about that.
I don't know, but
I see where you're going. I thought about that.
Either which way you land on this, we have God giving a command to Adam. And then he gets Eve, and he has this moment where we were like, she is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. He's like, we are one.
We're one.
We are one. And then does it make sure that the only rule is perfectly clear?
He stood by. You just stood by.
Yeah.
And I think I go back to like the danger that you create by remaining passive in these three areas. Whether you stay passive with the emotional needs of your house or your spouse, the domestic need that needs the help that she needs.
That's right.
Or the spiritual need that she needs and the whole house is needing. You are creating room for a serpent to come in and speak to them.
And do you think that this problem, even between Adam and Eve and spouses today, happens because there's an abundance of communication or a lack thereof?
There's a lack of communication. I think there's an abundance of noise and a lack of true communication. Yep. There's a lot of noise. There is a lot of noise. And there's a lot of things that are given to us for convenience to just check out. We have a lot of reasons to check out. You have your social media gives you plenty of reasons to just drool and watch a screen.
Hours.
You have Amazon Prime, you have Apple TV, you have YouTube, you have Netflix, you have all this stuff that is churning out content for you to just check out. I mean, dude, there's a million and one things out there that its whole purpose is for you to just shift your eyes away from your house and put your eyes on me. And the result is something's going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times it's this type of stuff. But the problem is that those things don't stop just because you're distracted. Someone has to pick up a lot of that stuff.
That's right.
You know, so if you're accustomed to coming home day in, day out, I shower, I ate, I gave my wife a kiss, and then I went and I sat down and I watched TV, and then, she also worked that day. That doesn't stop the house from getting dirty. It doesn't stop the dishes from piling up. That doesn't stop from somebody ordering the groceries. It doesn't stop somebody from paying the bills. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, depending on how your house is structured, those things don't just stop. They keep going, and someone has to take over those things, And this may be, a inverse thing with someone else where it's a situation where the husband's probably this person and, and the wife is doing the other part. But 9 times out of 10 from talking to guys, it's kind of like, yo, man, like, have you thought about the mental load here? Like.
No, we don't think about that.
We don't think about that.
We kind of see it as my job and my career to provide for the family is my mental load to bear.
Yes.
And I bear it.
Yeah.
And then I come home.
And
this home stuff is your job and your mental load to bear.
Right. Mind you, you've already worked.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part.
It'll be a 2 salary.
Right.
Or 2 income.
Right.
Household,
correct. And, you have that situation where it's that, so it's difficult. You have to stop and reflect on, man, if I'm not the one present there, someone is talking to, someone's whispering crap to my spouse, So something negative, or she's creating the resentment in her. That
right.
cycle is just building up.
A seed of resentment's been planted.
It's planted,
and every
dude.
day it just slowly waters.
Yes.
Slowly waters.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what you have with Adam. I mean, he's there. I mean, he has knowledge of what Eve is supposed to be doing. Eve has knowledge of what she's supposed to be doing. Adam was tasked with not only working the garden, but protecting the garden. And Adam decided, not this time. So,
I don't necessarily it's like protecting the garden. It literally looks like Eve has some misinformation that she was called to get from Adam. She says something really weird, right? God tells Adam, don't eat of that tree.
Don't eat.
Eve says, don't eat of it, and don't even touch it, or you'll die. She's already off the bat doesn't know that if you touch it, ain't nothing gonna happen.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so there's a little bit of clarity and communication there of like, hey, what happens if you eat of that tree?
Correct.
Right? And I don't know if it was one of those things like, hey, that tree, don't eat that, you'll die.
Don't eat that
Don't
one.
even touch it.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But the information she thought was true from the beginning before the serpent said anything was false. And that was Adam's job, to teach his spouse, this is true. We live by this. Don't eat that fruit. And then what do you think happens the moment she touches it? And she doesn't die.
I'll go back to, was God right?
Was God? Yeah. She starts doubting God.
Immediately.
100%.
Was God right?
She starts doubting the source of truth.
Yeah.
Now imagine in your household, just man and wife, right? In this case, it's just the misinformation that comes from like resentment. You start seeing life through a new lens of resentment and what they're not doing and blah, blah, blah,
Absolutely.
yada, yada, yada.
You paint a new reality.
Yeah, and this goes both ways, spouse. It doesn't really matter, but just hang with me here. So now you see life through a different lens that's warped by bitterness and resentment. And then just another voice comes in. Say it's the enemy. Say it's a coworker who now talks. That's it. They just start communicating with you, and it finally feels good.
So I'm so glad you said that. Going back to, I'm gonna take it back to the most crazy place on the internet, Reddit.
Okay.
I'll take it there. Because I'm always reading like these stories of couples that are just, they're struggling. That's right. And talk about the one where the guys are like, over a period of time, they're both just negative with each other. But anyway, the spouse decides to leave. So the husband's just left like, what the heck, And you go back to reading the stories where a lot of them are saying, over a period of time, resentment was built because I chose to not address something. My spouse listened to so-and-so. And typically the advice is, well, you're not happy. You should be happy.
You should be happy.
And
who wants to be married to unhappiness for the rest of their life?
But you go back to my guy, like there was some stuff in there over, if you read the long thread of information that they give you, you're like, man, dude, there's so many moments where you could have stepped in and just say, I will just step in and do something different here. Right. And I'm not blaming them 100%.
Yep.
It's blame on both sides.
Yeah.
But there's always opportunities to step in and say, like, I'm going to step into this area, whether it's the emotional part that is causing issues, the domestic or the spiritual part that's causing issues, so the voice that's seeping in there can stop. But the resentment has been built so high that pride is the thing that keeps them from saying like, all right, because they're waiting on the other person to come down first. Like, I'll come off this, high horse when you come off your horse.
Yeah.
And they both choose not to, so you're trying to avoid that,
That's right.
Get some humility, like step down that horse and be like, look, like, I'm not the white knight here. Like, I don't, I'm messing up, but like, I want to do different.
And take the doormat language out.
And take that.
That's usually, if I hear that more than anything, is like, hey, am I a doormat?
Yeah.
Am I just here to be a servant?
Yeah.
Am I here just to do everything for her, him, yada yada?
And that doormat language is a resentment language.
It's 100% a resentment language.
Because I am of the belief that the husband doesn't do it intentionally. There's an ignorance in there where it's like, I just don't know, but it's not an excuse to then not change. Right?
Yeah.
It needs to be brought up. And if it has been brought up, you have 100% responsibility to reflect on what your spouse is saying, to say, I need to do something different. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest. Did I like picking up the domestic side of stuff? No, I didn't. Right? I didn't, but to be honest, I also, I have these conversations with myself where I'm like, but what excuse do I have not to? Right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to come home and I'm going to watch TV for the next 3 hours. Why can't I give 1 hour to just pick everything up, to help out? Like, what's stopping me from doing that?
That's right.
Convenience? Stop it.
Yeah.
You're a grown man. Like, handle your business and then relax, That's know? Right. So you have to have that difficult conversation with yourself, to make sure you're listening. And then if you hate it, tell them like, babe, I hate what you're asking me to do.
Yep.
I'm being honest, but I will definitely give it a try. I'll give it a try. But then hopefully you're seeing that, this wasn't that bad. I can.
It's only took 30 minutes.
This only took 30 minutes,
And then don't shove that back in their face.
Right.
I've seen this happen.
Yeah.
Where they do step in and help, and it wasn't as big a deal as they thought. Mm-hmm. And then they somehow, something inside them thinks this will be a good discussion to bring with my spouse.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't be like, why'd you put this off? Why couldn't you do this? This was only 30 minutes a week. Why couldn't? Right. And it's not going to go anywhere. Well,
the biggest one that I've seen is this. And this is just also from seeing other guys and, talking to that guy that wrote that whole thing that, I found was like, dude, I love this. Where the biggest problem that I will say that the guys are going to encounter is an outcome-based approach. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because I'm going to expect my wife to do X, Y, and Z. Typically, intimacy. Mm. And when you start taking over all those areas of life that she's saying, these things are heavy on me. I just need some relief. Well, if you're doing it for the purpose of, I just want to be able to have more intimate time with my spouse, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Oh, well, you're setting yourself up to absolutely respond in a very unloving way when you don't get what you want.
Correct.
It's got to be from a place of love.
Love.
100%.
Love. It has to come from a place of love. I'm doing it because we have a covenant.
Yeah.
And in that covenant, we're one flesh. I want to help you in these things because this is a partnership, not kind of like you said, this is not a transactional relationship.
That's right.
Where I do labor so you can give me sex. That's a business partnership. I mean, I'm just going to say it. That's a business partnership.
How is that different from prostitution? Truly?
It's not.
I provide money.
You give me sex.
Yeah.
Okay. Not enough? Okay, fine. You'll give me sex. I'll do more work. That doesn't work. That's a business agreement that we have. And if one side fails or the other, I mean, you're going to build resentment, or you're either going to be, well, being crappy at picking up all those things that I needed him to do, like the emotional stuff or the domestic or the spiritual. Or you as a guy may say, well, I've been doing all this other stuff. I've been keeping my mouth quiet when she's asking me to listen, doing eye contact, or I'm leading in spiritually, or I'm helping with the house, but the sex is less. It's not what I want. You approached it with a certain outcome in there, and you shouldn't.
Yeah, there's a foundation of, and this is important because of the amount of guys I've sat down recently that are in situations where their marriages are wrecked. Yeah. And they're doing all these things, and they're like, it's getting worse. And it's like, the thing you're going to want, period, regardless of where this goes. Now, most of the guys we listen to are probably not in those shoes. Mm-hmm. But regardless of, but the foundation of whether or not your marriage is going downhill, mm-hmm. and it isn't the silent killer anymore. It's pretty loud now. We're past that. Yeah. And you don't know if this can be salvaged. Or it's just like, I don't want it to go from silent to siren. You know, I just want to step in now and communicate more and take some of that mental load more before it gets to that point. Regardless, step into it from the viewpoint of that will bring the most glory to God.
Boom.
That's it. It's the whole momentum.
That is it, dude. That's the hardest thing to do, but it's the right approach to follow. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this to bring glory to God. I'm doing this because our marriage was designed to be this way.
That's right.
I'm doing this because my spouse has communicated that they're drowning and they need help. Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposedly the Christ of the relationship.
Whew.
So if you don't see yourself as the Christ of the relationship, you will not live that way.
You won't. I mean, you're called to be. I would say the ideal relationship is one where both sides see each other has a need, and out of your own will, you're stepping in to meet that need without prompt.
Yeah.
You know, we're not perfect. We need some communication, right? But I think that once you communicate what the needs are from one side to the other one, there's supposed to be a harmony there where you can kind of keep it at the forefront of your head, like, my spouse needs this. I'm just doing it. I don't need them to tell me anything. I'm just doing it because I know that's what they need.
Yeah.
And that's on both sides. You know, it works on both sides. You have to approach it that way. You know, my husband needs me to reassure him every day that he's doing a great job because he needs to be reassured. He doesn't have to tell me. He doesn't have to remind me. He just does, you know. Or my wife needs me to, you know, I don't know, be more involved with the kids and the doctor's visits, you know. She doesn't have to tell me a word. The moment I see that they're sick, I'm already making appointments and I'm doing this and I'm taking them, you know. Or, you know, the kids are having trouble at school. I know their teacher's name. Yeah. I know how to reach out to them. I know how to message them. I know how to make an appointment with the principal and ask him questions. Like, you know, just those things. Like, I'm doing those things because I want to do them and I'm meeting those needs, you know. You want to aim for that harmonious balance where you know each other so well that you just naturally, out of an abundance of love, you're like, I want to step in and meet those needs without an outcomes-based approach. That's the killer.
I think that's the part of that dying to yourself. Is you're dying to the outcome of what you're doing.
I felt guilty when the words, you have to die to yourself. I remember when I had started this whole thing, I was still on that outcomes-based approach, right?
Yeah.
Initially. And I still remember God speaking to me about that. And he was like, you have to die to this. That has to die. Like that, there's no room for that where I want to see this marriage to go. I felt it, man. I was like, oh my gosh, you're telling me I need to do all of this and expect nothing in return? Yes.
That's right. Because it's who you are.
It's who you are. It's how I am. That was a big one. Mm-hmm. That's how I am. Look at everything you guys have. I'd expect nothing in return. Mm-hmm. I do it out of an abundance of love. And marriage is a reflection of me. It is a reflection of the Trinity. It is a reflection of our relationship. That is what I want for your marriage. That's how I created it to be. Mm. So there is no room for an outcomes-based approach here.
I think you like video games.
My word, I do.
Right. You like video games, right? How much effort do you, or what result do you need to get out of after you do really well in video games? On the external to that.
External to that, nothing.
Not the accolades of like, I reached this level.
Yeah, it's all internal satisfaction of.
How much do you require that your spouse come in and go, you did such a good job in that video game?
Nothing.
So there's things in our life that require none of that.
Yeah.
And we'll gladly step into it because you're like, this is who I am.
That's so true.
You are you are you more of a video game player than you are a husband?
Oh, dang it, Cody!
You see what I'm saying? Like it's like
what a question.
Because when we view ourselves through the lens of like I'm a video gamer, I'm a gamer. I love video games.
I know.
No motivation, no discipline.
Ooh.
No, you don't have to study the books, right? You just naturally step into this.
You already know.
I fund money into this. I put hours into this. I stay up late for this, and ain't no one got to tell me good job. Nothing. You just do. When you go to the husband, which is like a higher tier.
Yeah, at the husband tier, let me put it this way, right? Yeah. You were all of those things as a boyfriend, but the moment you got married, you're like, all right, retirement.
That's right, retirement.
No, dude, like not at all.
That
like
was game on.
You were a master of logistics when you were the boyfriend. Right,
bro.
Yeah, dude.
I look back at just like the romance side.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
That I brought to the table.
There you go.
To court my wife.
Unquestionable.
4 years before I ever had the guts to ask her dad.
Yeah.
Let me have her. Ever. But I think it's for the husband, you cannot be in it for the results. Wives, do not hear that as you should never build them up.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
It's like, well, if they shouldn't do it for the results, right? I shouldn't have to come out and say, oh, the boy.
Right.
You're not doing that.
Right.
You are edifying and building up what God has already put inside of them.
Correct.
It's that 2 Peter 1:3, where it says, by God's divine power, you've been given everything for life and godliness, to live a godly life. Everything. Already done. You need nothing extra. There's nothing in your life you don't have that you need to live that way, right? But the one thing that will get in the way is belief. 100%.
Well.
So if you want to see your spouse change what they believe is true. And if you can do that by building up the identity of like, you are not only a father, you were created to be really good at this. You are not only my husband, God has made you to be an incredible husband, to be just like Christ and be able to build that up in them. And then husbands to your wives.
Do the same.
And just like we talked about either one way, you are going to suck at it. It's going to feel awkward, embarrassing, wrong.
Right.
And then your other spouse that you're doing it in front of, they're going to look at you like you're weird. When you first start doing this, you ain't never stepped into being a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
Like, imagine in your relationship, you never drove.
Oh, yeah. I see where you're
You
going.
never drove.
Yeah.
Never drove. Brittany always drove.
Yeah.
No one questioned it. It just kind of was what. She kind of resented you
Yeah.
a little bit, but she kind of got over it.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden, y'all getting ready to go to church and you get in the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. Is she going to be like, yay? Or is she going to be like, are we safe? They're going to give you a weird look.
Either way,
You got a license.
into it. Yeah.
You got a license. You got insurance. But she ain't never seen this side of you before. Don't expect a warm welcome. Expect them to be kind of like,
What
that
are you
was
doing?
weird.
That's strange.
This is weird. I don't know if I should get in the car.
Yeah.
How about,
What did you do?
what did you do? Right? So even in that,
Yeah.
if you're expecting results of
Yeah.
like, they're going to be like, oh my gosh.
Correct.
Finally, they're going to be like, who are you?
Right.
And then be like, I don't know.
All right. And surprise them. Do it again and again.
Do it again, yeah.
And again and again. Like once you start it, I go back to ownership. Own it.
Yeah.
You know, we guys are great at owning things at work. But when it comes to the house stuff, it falls apart.
You asked the question about initiation earlier, initiating intimacy versus prayer.
Yeah.
Talk about how y'all started combining those things.
Initiating.
Y'all started praying before intimacy.
Oh, yeah. So that was one of our things. Early on, we've decided that every time before we're intimate, we pray. Just because you're stepping, from my understanding of it, you're stepping into a moment of like momentary grace. Like if God was to put grace in a bottle, it's almost like this is his gift to you to say, this is the relationship. This is the emotional connection that exists within the Trinity. You guys get to experience like a moment of this connection.
A fraction of
oneness
Yeah.
that, nothing can put a touch to it, So we've decided just to make sure that we're stepping into it with a pure mind to like, we pray before that happens, Now, does that happen every single time? No. But when it happens, it reminds us that we get to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And not only that, God literally put us together.
That's right.
It just centers things back to where they need to be.
Yeah.
It's
almost like you're aligning covenant with covenant.
You are, dude. I think a lot of us, you'll say your vows at your wedding and like, that's it. Like you just forget completely that you've sealed yourself to the other person.
Oh gosh, dude. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Like why would you not
on a regular basis?
Right. Why wouldn't you continually try to remind yourself of that? Like, babe, like we are sealed as one.
Oh my.
Like our we are one in this. Like we're one. Like understand the gravity and the weight of that.
Of covenant.
It's
like one of the very few vows you make in our culture is on your wedding day.
Yeah.
And we're just going to say it once.
We'll say it one time and we won't remember
when we're
it
thinking
anymore.
about the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And the photos.
That's it.
Oh my gosh,
That's
Albert.
it.
You are
That's it.
Did you I don't even know what to say now because I'm thinking like I'm in that moment where like you look back into your 20s and you realize how stupid you are.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at myself 4 minutes ago and realizing you are so dumb. Like to think that one moment of the vow.
It was an event.
That was that little spike was
it
all you needed.
You're just like, okay, so we had the event. All right, moving on. Dude, no. No.
Why don't we do that
No.
more often? Not
Correct.
like a vow renewal. Like
Right.
they'll do that. People do that at like 5, 10,
Right.
whatever years or whatever.
Right.
Why would you not do that every time? Once a week, a month, a year. We don't even once a year. We don't even do
Right.
that before intimacy.
Correct.
Before God.
I would encourage you to try. I would encourage a lot of guys to lead in that. Step into that and lead in that. Purify that area. I mean, it's to me, it's no different that when you have Moses in the burning bush, and God literally tells Moses, "Hey, take off your shoes. You're about to step into holy ground." Dude, treat that area of your life as stepping into holy ground.
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly believe that if you do, God will bless it. You know, I know that for me, it certainly has had an effect in helping me have the right mindset.
Yeah.
You know, like, good Lord, like, this is a blessing for me. You know, in our 20s, you know, when you're just recently married, it's all flesh. Well, the dangers of that in marriage is that over a period of time, if it's just flesh, it's just that. You start losing that emotional, spiritual connection that's supposed to be there. But dude, when you invite God in that area, things start changing.
It's different.
It's different. It's definitely different. So that's definitely one of the big things I would tell a lot of guys. Start thinking about that and start leading in that. Don't wait for her to do it. You do it.
And be really bad at it.
Yeah, you're going to suck at it.
You're going to sound...
It's going to be fine.
You're going to
Still
sound
do it.
completely unconfident.
Yeah.
You're going to sound unsure. and we don't like that feeling.
I think your wife will respect you even more for leading in that.
Yeah.
I think they'll start to notice something's different.
You've just got to get past yourself.
You got to get past yourself. Correct. You are going to be your own worst, critic. Always. Let your spouse see that and let them tell you, like, you're doing great.
Yeah, I guess it's the difference between when you're wanting to step in something that feels uncomfortable. If the concern is, how does this make me look? You can tell where your value comes from.
Yeah.
How do I look?
How do I look?
How do I look? Do I look weak?
Stop.
Incompetent,
Yeah,
right?
stop.
Versus, am I stepping to something that I was made to do?
That's the approach.
That's a different place.
It's totally different.
Totally different.
Dude, I think, you're the one that told me about, that, I'm sorry you told me about it, but you continually remind me that I was designed to be great at all these things. Yeah. So honestly, when I approach all of these areas with that mindset, it's a totally different ball game.
It's totally different.
It's almost competitive. Like, I want to be really good at this. Like, I want to make sure everything's done right, and walk away feeling good about it. So I want to move to the practical steps.
All right. I like practical stuff.
Practical steps. So I kind of divided this into like three different areas.
Okay.
Not being a ghost in the emotional part, the domestic or the spiritual part. So like the first question that I have for the guys is, if your emotional engagement in your marriage was a ledger, just this is you and the emotional aspects of your marriage. If it was a ledger, are you running a surplus or a deficit with your wife?
This is assuming no break even.
So with this one, I kind of narrowed this down to this one question that's more approachable. Dating as an example, right? When you were dating, you were a master of logistics. You planned the dinners, you checked her schedule, and then like you initiated the conversations, right? Yeah. But now that you married, why have you chosen to retire from doing all of those things, right? And I practical steps is, number one, you need to reflect on why have you chosen to retire from it.
Yeah.
And then number two is, what are you going to do next to initiate the next couple of dates? And I say couple of dates because speaking for me, I operate in an almost all or nothing approach. So like I told you, right? As soon as 2026 hit, I lined up our dates for the year.
For the entire year.
From January all the way to December 26th. All our dates are lined up. Every place has been picked out.
Yep.
Babysitters lined up. Fees for the babysitters lined up.
Food for the kids.
Food for the kids. So like, and it's not a bragging thing, right? Mm-hmm. But it's to show this is what it takes, right?
Yeah.
Plan either the next 3 months, plan the next 6 months, plan the next year. I went for the full year.
Yeah, you did.
You know, if you have a mother-in-law nearby, shout out to my mother-in-law. She's amazing. Family member, whatever it is. Don't leave that emotional gap in your marriage. Line up all those dates. And then bombard your spouse with a bunch of Google Calendar invites.
Well, think about
That's
it
what
this
I did.
way, because I know there's some people, if they're still listening up until this point.
Yeah.
In which case, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Absolutely.
That's some loyal ears right there. Like the initial gut reaction to that is like, well, that's not practical for us because blank, blank, blank.
Right.
And I think about all the impractical stuff I did while dating Lauren. Mm-hmm. And I never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I never would talk my way out of something impractical when I was dating her.
No, you made whatever it took, you made sure we were spending time together.
And I think this is important as a father to your boys, even though that's a different topic. Yeah. You are not dating her to say yes. You are dating her to continue what you're doing with her for the rest of your life.
Correct.
Because I dated Lauren. Mm-hmm. You know, I loved her. Mm-hmm. Still love her. Mm-hmm. But there was a part of me that just really, really wanted her to say yes to me. Mm-hmm. And then there's this checkout moment once you get married.
Yeah.
And I think that something happens. Like when we get married, our goal is met. Mm-hmm. Instead of the start line, you just cross the start line.
Correct.
The finish line's way, 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 way.
Right.
Keep going.
Keep going. And I think that was my whole approach, right? So when I lined up everything, you know, initially I was like, you're doing too much, right? But I know myself. I'm either going to plan to 3 months and then drop it.
Yeah.
6 months and then drop it. 8 months and then drop it. And I said, no. I am capable of creating a 5-year plan for my career. I can create a 10-year plan or 15-year plan for retirement.
That's right.
If people at work ask me to create a plan for budgeting for the next X amount of years, I can create that budget. Why can't I do that to date my wife?
That's right.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
So I went for the full year. If I'm able to make that same application for work, I'm certainly able to do that for my spouse. Right. Heck, next year I might see if I can do 2 years, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Now I'm talking crazy. But anyway, yes, I communicated, right? The practical step is, number one, find out with yourself why you chose to check out from that role. You were a master at it when you were dating, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm retired now. Stop.
I did it. I did.
I got it.
It's the same mentality.
Right. But
I did what was required to get married.
Right.
And now I'm done. Mm-hmm. Step into your career. I did what was required of me to provide for my family. When I get home, I'm done.
You're like, you're not done. You're never done.
Oh, man.
You're never done. You're never done. You're never done.
I'm tired. Don't care.
Don't care. Keep going. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Keep going. I think that's something extremely important. And I had to reflect that with myself. Honestly, I asked myself, I was like, why aren't we dating anymore? You know, we have all these kids and it's stop. You're making excuses. Mm-hmm. Your kids are not an excuse for you to say we're done dating.
Yeah.
Right? Find a way, find an approach that works for both of you.
That's right.
Right? It may be 1 hour a week. It may be 2 hours a month. Whatever it is, however it's supposed to look for you guys in this season of life, implement it.
Yep.
Be great at it. Own it. be completely responsible for everything with it. If you have kids, you're responsible for the babysitter. You're responsible for the money. You're responsible for their food. You're responsible for picking out the place to go, take your wife. You're responsible for you are it, man. You are made to be amazing at that. Literally, you're made that way, So own it. Find a way, Find a way, And hey, if you need some ideas, bro, message me on Facebook. I have tips and tricks of all the places to go in the Hattiesburg area. Okay.
If you're in Minnesota, you gotta look.
You're
gonna have to Google it.
You're gonna have to Google that one. Yeah. But if you're in the Hattiesburg area, you send me a message on Facebook. I'll be like, look, this is what I'm doing. All right. So that's number one, right? The emotional part. Number two is gonna be the domestic part.
Okay.
I think this is probably a biggie one. My question is, what is one recurring household task that just happens without me thinking about it? Who buys the groceries?
Spouse.
Who gets the mail?
Me.
There you go. For me, it's spouse.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Just who does the laundry?
Everybody.
Who folds it?
Everybody.
Okay. But you see how that could be different for. But
it didn't start that way.
All right.
I can guarantee you this is newer developments within the year 2025.
I'm a say something about the laundry. I got fired from doing the laundry.
Did you really?
I did, dude. I folded things
wrong.
Towels?
Was it the towels?
No, I mixed the kids' clothes. I didn't know who was who.
Dude, that messes me up so bad. My wife looks at me like I'm gone. I'm like, whose pants are these? She's like, obviously Maggie's. And I'm like, ha, okay, whatever.
I knew that's what I thought. I was like, pink.
No idea.
I was like 50-50. It's going on this basket.
I never thought I'd be so thankful for one boy, because if it's got dinosaurs or dump trucks, I'm like, that's miles.
I was good with George's stuff, but the girls, I was like, purple, that's 50-50. It's going on this basket. Dude,
well, we actually switched it up that our girls separate everyone's laundry.
Our girls do the same thing.
Because they know. They know what dads, they know what moms, they know what theirs are, and they know what Miles looks like.
They do. And I'm going to speak about that too. I'm going to add a little bit something about your kids and the household stuff at the end.
Yeah.
But the question is this though, like, what are the recurring tasks that are happening without you asking about it? Like, dude, if the toilet is always clean, it's not magic, right? If the shower is always clean, it ain't magic. If you always have toothpaste, it ain't magic.
Look, did you watch that? I think it was the video where the guy he's talking to his spouse about the cleaning fairy.
You're talking about the table? The
coffee table? He goes, don't.
I remember this.
Don't do anything. Just leave it overnight. I promise you. In the morning, cleaned up.
Yeah.
I have been watching this happen for months.
I remember seeing that.
And the wife is just like
dumbfounded, like, really?
And
but essentially it's that, like, yo, get off that mentality that a fairy's taking care of all of this, right?
Yep.
There are certain things being done magically right now that you have no involvement in. That's right. Ask if you can step in and take care of some of that stuff. Right. And I kind of go back to your question. Ask them, what is the thing that's causing them the most mental load as far as the domestic side, before you assume that it's X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
I know for me, she communicated, this is really what I need help with. And now it's like 10-4, got it, it's mine now, right? And it's going to be done this way too, right? But,
another spouse might not say a word.
They might not say a word.
And they might feel like they are giving you every single possible hint outside of just plain out telling you.
Right.
Spouse, if that's you, your husband ain't getting it.
He's not going to get it.
He ain't going to get it.
He's not going to get it. He's not going to guess it. It'll be 10,000 years, and he's still going to be like, I don't know why she's upset.
When you explode on him, he will have no idea.
We are literal people. That's just who we tell us straight up. I need X, Y, and Z done, and I don't want to be reminding you of it. Like, I don't I don't want to say, hey, Cody, right? Can you do the dishes? By the way, I'm going to set my own alarm to remind you. They don't want that, right? They want to say, can you do the dishes? Now, I want to remove that from ever thinking about it
I don't
again.
think that's said, though.
Right.
I think that next piece is probably really important.
It's very
Because
important.
if you ask a husband to help out with the dishes,
well, he's going to help out.
he
And
just
that's
has,
it.
it's just that one time.
No.
And if when you need help again, just come ask.
Right.
Versus, and
Right.
this is for our wives.
Right.
If there's something you want him to take ownership of, use that language, because I guarantee they use that at work.
Because I remember initially when we were doing this, devotional was a big one, right? She was like, I just want you to take over that. So I did it, right? Like 3 times. And then it was brought up again, like, no, I see you as the head of that. Mm-hmm. I want you to be the head of that.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about doing that.
I think that second part's really important. I want you to own it to such a degree that I don't have to think about it.
I don't think about it.
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
And then it clicked. Boom. Got it. 7 p.m. every night. My alarm is set. 7 days a week. It goes off. Everything's turned off. Kids, report to the living room. That's it. It's mine. Done. Right?
Yep.
It's that approach. Dishes, if that's what she's communicating, hey, have it in your head. Boom. As soon as I get home from work, dishes are done.
Right.
They're going to be mine. I'll take care of it. Same with the trash. Mine communicated something so subtle about the trash that I didn't even know. That was a mental load, right? And it was, I would appreciate if the trash was taken out, even if it's halfway full, every night. Well, in my head, this for the past, 15 years, half full means we can add more.
Add more.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I operated.
For a 2-cent trash
But
bag.
when then she communicated, like, I would appreciate it, right? Because the next day is unpredictable.
Yeah.
I may throw a bunch of stuff in there, but now it's over full. Now we got to get another bag, It creates a situation
Yeah.
of and it's unsightly to see all that full, right? So if you see half full, can you just take it out?
That's right.
Dude, what do you think I'm doing every night?
Taking that trash out.
I open it, not half full. We're good, right? And I come the next day and it's still good. Half full, it's out.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Okay.
It's just gone. It's gone. It just disappears, right? No big deal. How long does that take? 30 seconds.
And I think if
Trash in,
she
trash
just
out.
said,
That's-
I just want you to take the trash out,
Yeah, just take it out.
right?
All right.
Without, even if it's half full, and I'm like, in my head, I'm just thinking communication matters.
Yeah.
Because I would have heard, hey, take the trash out at night.
Right,
I would have
so-
looked at it and go, half full, not a big deal. And then been
Right.
like justified.
Right. So when we communicate clearly, like, okay, like, but then she also communicated her reasonings why.
That's right.
Babe, there's 3 kids at home. We're cleaning, we're throwing stuff away. They're throwing stuff away.
Yeah.
It gets full fast.
Yeah.
If it's half full, it gets full really fast, right? I understand that now, right? So I think it has to come from that place. Be very clear about what you're needing them to do.
That's right.
On that side. All right?
Both our wives are trying to call us right now.
Oh,
What's
I
that
know.
last practical step? Do you have one more for
The
us?
last practical step is, if I asked your wife, what is the spiritual vision your husband has for your family this year? Would she have an answer?
Ooh. The spiritual vision?
Do you have a spiritual vision for your family this year? And it may be just you and your wife. It may be you, your wife, and your kids. Regardless, you're in charge of that garden.
Yeah.
Do you have a vision for your family spiritually?
I would say we've talked briefly about it, but not enough that we can both agree exactly and have clarity on what it is. You understand? Like we've talked about it, what we want it to look more like, but not enough to where if I asked her and someone asked me separately, we would not say the same thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I wrote that question, down, I actually brought it up And I was like, hey, like, this is what I've been thinking about doing, right? And I told her what it's going to be. So actually, like, when I get home, that's something I'm going to work on shaping, because I have this idea of how I want our devotionals to be for our kids for the year. Certain topics I want us to touch on. So as of now, she can tell you vaguely what that is, right? But prior years, she wouldn't be able to tell you,
Yeah.
right? So she could probably tell you, like, yeah, he wants us to keep doing house church and this stuff, like
Yeah.
those things, right? But not an actual vision for what it needs to look like. So I've communicated, like, here's what I want to see happen. And then I have plans to also go make it happen. Don't just say, well, I have a dream. No. Like, implement
Yeah.
the thing. Implement the thing, right?
Yeah, dreams are great. Visions are better,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Plans are awesome.
Yeah.
Execution is better.
Execution is everything. Execute. If you start it, you finish it. Execute. Absolutely.
So if you got to switch gears in the middle of it, like we've started plenty of things and had to pivot and go like, okay, that did not quite work the way we thought.
Right.
Bam.
Right,
And the
right.
most painful for us, implementing something like devotions at night or a nighttime routine or talking about scripture during supper,
Yeah.
right, was basically boiled down to. Nope, lost my train of thought. It's completely gone. It's completely gone. Oh, no, I remember what it was. It was the most painful transition was when we came to a crossroad where you realize either this isn't going to work as things are or something has to go. You understand? Like when it was
Right.
a sacrifice of taking something out of your life to make space for that thing, whether it was money, time,
Right.
obligations, you name it.
Right.
Those were the hardest, and it was a lot easier just to be like, we just won't do this whole thing we talked about
Right.
because we don't want to take this other thing out of our life. And I was like, no, this is that whole living sacrifice thing, your true worship. It's like making something matter more than what matters most.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to. So, but yeah, those are the three things, man.
Like
I
it.
would say for the guys that are in a situation where their marriages are falling apart, or the guys that are looking to implement something for the year, or the guys that are going through just a difficult season, right? With these three areas being the major ones, like, step in and have that uncomfortable conversation with your spouse and be like, out of these three areas, what is the one causing you the most mental load? It might be all three, right? And then just be prepared to receive an answer and don't try to justify a why. You're probably
Yeah.
gonna hate
Yep.
making the changes, right? The domestic labor is not the most masculine thing in the world.
No.
It's not. But regardless, you've agreed to have a covenant relationship with
That's
that
right.
person. You've agreed to love that person like Christ loves the church. You've agreed to serve that person, right? So aim to relieve them of that 30%.
Yeah.
I say, I'm told if you could just help reduce about 30% of that workload that they're feeling, that mental load,
Life changing.
it's life changing. They can breathe, right? They're less exhausted
That's right.
from everything, emotionally and physically. So step in, dude, we were created to be amazing at those things. So step in and do it. So, and it's episode 6, dude.
Albert, close us out in prayer, man.
Absolutely. Dear Father, thank you so much for this time, Lord. Thank you so much for just speaking to us, Father, about this area of marriage. I pray, Father, for all the couples that are out there, Lord. I pray that you bless them, Father, and then you guide them, and then you give the husbands wisdom, Father, in how to lead in their marriages, Lord. I pray that you continually bless them and just pour your presence in that marriage, Father. I pray that you be the foundation for all the marriages that are, for everyone that's listening, Lord. Lord, I pray that you continually guide us in what we do each and every day. And I pray, Lord, that above all, everything we do, it's all pointing back to you, Father. Help us, Lord, get closer and closer to reflecting a marriage that you find to be pleasing, Father. We love you and we thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.